Going here, everyone. So I think the broadcast is up and running. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Sarah. Looks like we're good to go. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming to this awesome session. We've got two amazing speakers here. They're going to walk you through some customer retention conversation here. So if you're not familiar, first guy we want to introduce here is a gentleman by the name of Mike Campion. If you're not familiar with him, is the founder of Grow My Cleaning Company, Grow My Cleaning Company podcast, and the Cleaning Nation community. Serial entrepreneur, ran a multi-million-dollar business. I almost said billionaire, Mike. Almost toted you too much. Successful cleaning company operator, built it, sold it, and is a coach for janitorial business owners. He's got a ton of experience and some seriously valuable educational content. If you're not consuming it, you need to be. Highly recommend you check him out, and there's lots of places that we can connect you guys through some of his various places that he speaks and kind of gets connected with the community. Second person is a customer of Swept. We've got Doug Snyder on the line here as well. He's the owner of Tower Cleaning Services. He's been in the industry for some time, and the reason Doug is on the call is he's now taken that giant leap from being the guy who sold the contract and is cleaning the contract to the guy who now has a team of people deployed in the field that he can't touch every single day, and wants to make sure that he's got tools, systems, and processes in place to help make sure that his teams that he's relying on are not going to be the reason that he loses those customers that he worked so hard to get. So thank you both for being part of this conversation today. So just a little housekeeping before we get started here, guys, and I'll let you guys kind of run rampant with a whole bunch of questions. If you've got questions, by all means there's a chat feature available to you. Mike and Doug have said that they're gonna try and take the questions in stride, so we're not going to wait until the end. Both gentlemen want to try and take these and build them into the conversation right away. If we don't have time to get all the questions, we've done a couple of these with Mike in the past, and there's tons of them. We may not be able to get to them all, but certainly feel free to ask, and we will do our best to get them over to you. Everyone's going to receive a recording of the session today, but make sure that you stick around. Campion. So do not leave this event until we tell you that it's time to go home and enjoy your milk and cookies. So without further ado, I'm going to pass this over to both Doug and Mike, and I'm going to quickly fade off into the background and turn off my camera and let these two gentlemen take the show. So without further ado, get it going, guys.
Well, first and foremost, I'm a little upset you screwed up my introduction. You left off that I'm the guy on the webinar with the most hair, which I don't always get to say. So how dare you?
It's not hard.
I want credit where credit's due. So now that we've got that clear, I guess we could dive in.
That didn't take long.
Sadly, it's not going to end here. I tend to be a jerk at just picking stuff over and over. So my apologies to the esteemed Doug and Toby. But it's like grade school. You pick on the kids that you like. So hopefully.
Absolutely.
Take it as well. All right, so the rumor I had going around, Doug, was this is going to be similar to kind of the podcast flow that I do, where you guys ask questions, I do my best to answer them, except we've got 100 or so super cool people that can barrage us with questions in the middle, and you and I can actually talk back to the audience as opposed to us just hammering one way. So that said, if that's the foundation, you tell me where you want to go, and we'll play.
Well, first of all, Mike, thanks for helping with this. And, my thing is I've been doing this a long time, 14 years to be exact. And it's my livelihood, it's my reputation. And I've always been reluctant to turn that over to other people. And then, I just recently started to listen to you and your podcasts. And that's how I learned about Swept. And between the two of these things, I can see how, hey, this is a couple pieces of the puzzle for me to establish a little track to run on, an infrastructure, so to speak, with some coaching and to take that step. I've been fearful over the years to make that leap. So that's why I'm here, and I'm glad to be here. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other people that can relate to that.
I would imagine when I talk to them, all I do all day in, day out is talk to owners of cleaning companies. So, and I can verify you are not alone in your plight, my friend. So what I hear you saying, and tell me if I hijack this and go a different direction, we'll pull it back the way you want. What I hear you saying is, hey, I'm a real good cleaner, I'm a real good operator, but I want to get out of cleaning and operating and into being an entrepreneur and being a visionary and actually growing this thing. Is that?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not getting any younger. I've got a 14-year-old daughter, a family, and I need to put something together.
It's so funny. I don't want to say a layabout, but for me, things definitely changed when I got married. All of a sudden, it's like, oh crap, I got other humans. I gotta get to work. It's not just Taco Bell and
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I feel that pain. Cool. So let's jump into that first and foremost. And for anyone that's a fan of the podcast, like, oh, I've only heard this 74,000 times. Systems, and then when you run out of those, throw in some systems to extricate you. But that's kind of the tactical piece. Let's talk a little bit about foundational, about the philosophy that we need to take on. So first and foremost, the thing I had to, and the cool thing is I've done all this stuff. So I promise you this isn't like, hey, I've read some books and here's what some other smart people say. This is a guy that's got kicked in the teeth 100 times ago. Hey, let me tell you how not to get kicked in the teeth.
Right.
100 times. The first mindset I absolutely had to slay, and I worked through this with the folks I coach, is we got to get out of that I'm the only one that can do this well, or quote unquote, the huge lie. Right. Like if we're a neurosurgeon and we've got 50 years of training and we're the one guy in the world, we're stuck with, if I don't show up, I don't get paid. I got to cut this guy's head open and do what only I can do.
Right.
We're not that, right? We do other things. And the beautiful thing is we're really not even in the cleaning business. So when we say things like, I'm the only one that can quote unquote clean, or I've got to check it, or I've got my hands on it, I've got to physically be present, that really shows a misunderstanding of what business we're in. Because you know as well as I do, cleaning is not high dollar work, right? People all think, I know how to clean that toilet. What's that worth? 10, 12 bucks an hour? Any my 8-year-old kid can clean the toilet. The business that we're in is solving problems and attracting people who have those problems to us with the knowledge and understanding that they have that problem, we can solve it. That's super high wage work. So that is the thing that we can say, we are going to do that. That's where we get paid. And that's where we bring the most value to the universe. So even if we're not money motivated, which most are, but if you're not, that's fine. If you want to bring the most value to the world, we want to make sure that we're creating systems and processes to help people understand, help understand our target customers' pain, and then B, help them understand that A, we get them, and B, we can solve it better than anybody else. So once we start shifting that mindset in terms of what our real job is and what we are uniquely qualified to do, and I tell people all the time, there are probably way better coaches, marketers, business people, just smarter, brighter, actual billionaires, not the fake one that Toby tried to make me out to be, out there. But there are not one of them on the face of this earth that know more about the plight of cleaning company owners than me. Yeah. You're like, who cares about you? I'm here about me. Gotcha. So that's why I'm a big fan of niches. So if you say I'm going to serve daycares, banks, property managers, warehouses, restaurants, whatever your niche might be, you might be able to say definitively, I know the pain of restaurant owners more than anyone else on the face of the earth. Or more specifically, if you're local, I know the pain of restaurant owners in Wichita, right, or wherever you are, better than anyone on the face of the earth. So first and foremost, we have to do a tectonic shift in terms of, we are not here to clean. We are not here to manage cleaning. We're here to understand problems and solve them. That pays better, and it makes it easier to go, well, I'm the only one that can solve that problem, but I got literally thousands of people that can clean. Any pushback or thoughts or feedback before we move to the next point?
Well, I mean, as far as feedback, absolutely. The thing with me is I create issues in my own mind out of fear that I don't need to, that keep me from taking that step. It comes down to a leap of faith in yourself, and just pushing ahead regardless of whatever it is. And that's where I'm at. And, so anyways, go ahead.
Let me just interject here, guys. One question that came in that
Toby's frozen.
Sam was asking, how do I target my ideal target client? I do 5-day-a-week client, times a certain amount of space, minimum size of check. And I think, Mike, your tectonic shift in terms of creating that niche is your goal, and go after that as a niche. Mike, just a quick comment before you do dive into the next point, because this, I felt was right in line with your segue.
Cool. Quick heads up, you're on my end, you're freezing. I don't know if that's happening globally for everyone else or if it's just me. So I might have you repeat. Just I want to make sure I answer the question that you actually asked, not the one that I'm making up while you you freeze. But what I heard you say is, how do I pick, great, I want to pick a niche. How do I do that? Is it size? Is it days per week? Is it good looking people with hair? How do I pick this thing out? Is that what you were saying?
Yes.
Right, I figure if I'm rude enough, you guys at some point will just hang up on me. So I'll keep pushing. So I love that question. That shows whoever asked that, that's a person that's like, hey, I'm not just here to listen and go, hey, Doug's good looking. Mike seemed to talk a lot. I feel better. I'm going to go back to my life. That's the person who's going, hey, I want to actually implement some of this stuff and take action, right? All the stuff that I teach, all the beautiful software that Swept is. I'm sure there's tons of people that sign up for Swept and get no value because I don't do a damn thing with it, right? So people like Doug that actually implement, like, this blows my mind. So I love whoever asked that you're immediately like, great, I want to take action. I want to do it. So thank you for that question. And hopefully that'll encourage some other people go, well, but now I at least know my first step. What's next? And what's next is to pick that niche, right? So if you're going to say, hey, I'm better in the world than anyone else in the world at talking to, you got to have a person to fill in that blank. So believe it or not, all the stuff that you mentioned is fine, but in terms of square footage, frequency, all that, but I would put those like third and fourth. The number one thing there's two kind of non-negotiables, and then there's some things that are that we'd like. The non-negotiables, first and foremost, which everybody misses, and I'm telling you, if you get this, it will absolutely shift the way you bid and how you're able to compete. It is you are looking for pain. So if I'm going to call, and this is what I recommend, we've got a perfect prospect survey to kind of give an outline of questions to ask. But if I'm going to try and jump into a niche, I'm going to call 10 of them. And you can certainly do a survey like online, and there's all sorts of automated ways to get a bunch of answers. But if this is going to be my niche, the people are going to pay my bills and send my kids to college for the next 5 years, I'm going to go eyeball to eyeball to the best of my ability. So I'm looking for pain. If I talk, we'll just say restaurants, because I know they're gushing pain. But let's say I talk to 10 restaurant owners and I go, we have a cleaner, and Bob's been here for, 6 years now, and he's fine. And I get that some version of that over and over again, I'm out. Not the niche. I have nothing to say to that guy. Remember, our goal is not to clean stuff. Wait, you're a restaurant. You have dirt. It's dirty. You need it clean. No, that's not our goal. Our goal is to find people that have problems that we can solve better than anybody else, and then solve them better than anybody else. That guy has no problem, right? Or maybe he does have a problem. Maybe he can't hire a fry cook, but that's not what you do. So if I get that over and over, and if I talk to 10 and I get that once, that's fine. But that's why you have to talk to 10, right? If you just talk to one, you're not getting a representation. So if I'm hearing that theme, it's fine. Yeah, I have a cleaner, so they do a fine job. Yeah, I get a little frustrated now and again, but it's fine. I'm out. Wrong niche. There's nothing you can do with them. Please don't waste your life banging your head against that wall. It will do nothing but a headache, literally. Second, what you are looking for is, Doug, are you freaking kidding me? I have been just ready to kill my cleaner. If that guy lies to me one more time, I will literally go to his office and punch. I mean, you don't need that, but this gushing of, I absolutely have pain. I've got to fix this.
Right.
Drive me nuts, right? That's what we're looking for. So first and foremost, and nobody gets this, is pain. If there is no pain, there is no sale. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Run. You can't spend enough money to get those people. Why? Would they have no pain? What can you help them with?
Right.
Less money. Well, that guy's $1,200. I'll do it for $900. Not a game you want to play. I promise you, not a game you want to play. So pain is the first thing. Second is money, which I help residential, commercial. For commercial, that's not as big of a problem. Residential, if it's condo homeowners, people that are renting, not a lot of money. Commercial, there are people that are more uptight about money and less uptight about money, but the requirement is they have physical money to pay, right? If there's, a guy, so that paying first. Money is more for residential folks, but I think this is all commercial, so that doesn't apply as well. And then the third is, can they fit my goal, right? If I've got a goal, if I'm at $500,000 now and I want to go to $1 million, and my niche I'm thinking about is daycares, and I do a search and there's 7 daycares in my area. Mm-hmm. Well, I like to figure about 10% is the low hanging fruit, right? Could I get all 7? Well, maybe in some fantasy world, but it's not realistic, right? I'm going to figure 10% are easy because I don't want to make it hard. I want to make it easy. So I go, well, there's 7 of them. Maybe I get 1 or 2, maybe. And they're average $1,500 a month. 2 of them, that's $3,000, $30,000. It can't even get me close to my goal, right? So first is pain. Second is money, which you're not going to have as big of a problem with commercial. Third is size. Are they big enough? And then don't have to meet all of your goals. You can have extra niches as you go, but only 1 niche at a time. Don't try and add multiple niches at multiple times. So those are kind of the requirements. Then you get into the nice things like, are they going to, again, I guess when you're kind of going, can they meet my goal? Well, certainly if you're like, well, these are 1 day a week and the average is $200 per month. Well, if I want to grow $500,000, I need 7 billion of these people to meet my goal. So that's when it comes into 5 days a week, minimum square footage, stuff like that. So my preference, my favorite are like Monday through Friday. They close at 5. Your guys work 5 to 8, 5 to 9, 6 to 9, a team of 2 or 3 working 3 hours a night. Those are just ATMs, man. So those are the ones I love. But I don't even have that conversation until I determine that they have pain, they have money, and there are enough of them. So there's a lot more to go into that, but I don't want to get way late. So that's short answer on that. Toby, you have any more questions, or you want me and Doug to keep talking our own ridiculousness?
I think you guys just keep plugging away.
All right, cool. And now I lost track. So Doug, we were talking about first and foremost, how do you get out? Oh, mindset. The first thing we need to do is pick a niche. But back to the mindset piece. The easy button, and I'm being sarcastic because it really is this easy, but it's emotionally not easy, is to just do it. So I ran my construction company for over a year where I was in the office 30 days that year, maybe less. And I'd do a 5 or 10 minute daily huddle by phone, Monday through Friday, no weekends. That was it. And people say, well, how'd you do it? And, certainly I planned and I had good people. And we're going to talk about some more of the tactical pieces. But I could have done everything in the world and still just gotten afraid. But I didn't. I just left. I stopped showing up, and I thought, well, some stuff will go wrong, but I'm just going to deal with it. This is the price I'm going to pay. I want to be independent in my business time-wise. Nothing went wrong. You guys did it great. I've had clients, one of my favorites, Stephanie, she hadn't had a vacation in 9 years, finally took one. Actually tried once or twice, like a 2-day thing, but she worked the whole, so she didn't have a real vacation. Her first vacation was 9 days, I think. It was over a week, less than 2 weeks, somewhere in that 7 to 14 day range. She said it went great. Nothing went on fire. And then she came back. They said it ran better without you. And by golly, if she didn't go right back to work, right? So it was the fear, just like what Doug's saying. She clearly had proven, I do not need to be here for this place to work, right? And she could either take more vacation or start working on systems that don't require her daily presence. But she went right back to work, not because of anything real, but because of what Doug said, the nonsense between her ears saying you got to do it. So the easy answer is you just got to do it. And now we'll talk about, if you're okay with it, some tactical, okay, how do I prepare to just leave so that I don't come back in the parking lot? But at some point, you are just going to have to do it, right? You can prepare for your kid going to college or high school or whatever, or when he leaves, but until he walks out that door with all of his stuff packed up and you look at an empty room, it's not done.
And you're absolutely right. And that's where I'm at. I've made that choice. I've decided, hey, it's time. I'm moving ahead. And it's nice that that SWEP came along, that you came along, and it's things lining up at the perfect time for me. And I'm laying a little groundwork in the meantime, and we're going to take a vacation to the beach here in a couple of weeks, and so the pot is starting to stir, and when we get back, I'm going to hit the ground running, and away we go. But it's a choice. It's a choice.
That's the most important thing, is just that I decided. That was when all the power happened. Until you did, and I know people are like, give me some tactics. I promise I'm going to give you some tactics. But none of it matters until you decide. Like Doug said, I decided. Now is the time. Not tomorrow, not in a week, not a year, not maybe. I'm not going to be there. And if we crack some eggs, some people get pissed, maybe even a customer, God forbid, quits, and that's not what we want. You got to be like, that's the price. If that's what it costs to be independent, then that's what it'll cost. If we're a brain surgeon and someone's going to die, different conversation. Worst comes to worst, somebody quits, and usually they don't. But if that's what it costs to be independent and to separate yourself from working in the business and always either be working on it or being out of it, whatever you choose, that's the price. So don't underestimate guys and gals going, I'm waiting for me to get to the good stuff. I promise you that's the good stuff. That commitment to, I got to leave, I'm going to leave, it doesn't matter, is the key. And I've seen people do it on purpose with a vacation. I've seen people do it not on purpose with sickness. They've worked so hard, the body finally said, I can't, I quit, I'm done. They were literally hospitalized for weeks. And guess what? Everything ran fine. So they, even without the preparation that we're going to talk about, they had the ability. They just didn't know that they had it. So I promise you, Doug, if your kid or something happened in your life where you were just like, this is real, I can't deal with that business for the next day, week, 2 weeks, your business will probably be just fine. So once you get that, all the tactics I'm going to give you are going to make it easier, but understand that they're not required. Fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I'll give you the big kind of easiest, lowest hanging fruit to kind of move forward on this. For me, it was core values. The company for the last, gosh, I'm old, 15 years now. I've had 3 or 4 or 5 companies, and my personal core values have been and are have fun, make money, be real, help out, period. Once I had people that believed those same things, it was so easy to leave. So what I did was before I left, I ran the entire company based on the core values. Any employee at any level could spend any amount of money, make any decision as if he were the owner, as long as he could come back to me, look me in the eyes and go, this is how I thought it was best exemplifying having fun, making money, being real, and helping out. We also had an underlying, it wasn't a core value, it was an understood, no lying, cheating, or stealing, right? If you ever lie, cheat, or steal, you're fired, period. To me, to a customer, to each other, we don't lie, cheat, or steal.
Yeah,
ever.
beautiful.
It wasn't a core value. It's like, we don't have a core value of not punching each other in the face. Like, we just assume you don't do that. So the not lying, cheating, and stealing, it wasn't that it wasn't important. It was like, we shouldn't have to tell you, like, we don't, have sex with each other on the countertops at job sites. That's not a core value. It's just kind of a little bit of common sense. So same with lying, cheating, and stealing. And what happened was, it was beautiful because I learned early. I didn't learn. I learned after getting bashed in the head, but painfully I learned when people were doing things that were crazy and I just couldn't understand it. And the worst part is they didn't understand I was going so upset. I'd go nuts. They're like, why are you freaking out? I'm like, how are you not freaking out?
Yeah.
The difference was they had violated a core value of mine, but I hadn't been clear what my core values were. And even worse, they oftentimes didn't share those core values. So I can't leave my company in the hands of somebody that's about being professional and money above everything. And I'm just trying to think of it. And not helping out, right? I can't leave my company in the hands because they're going to just do crazy stuff. But once I had people that were used to not me managing them, but the core values managing them. So when someone called in last minute, hey, I can't come. All right, well, can we just talk about that, Doug? When you applied here, when you read the hiring ad, when you came into the group interview and did the one-on-one interview, when we did your indoctrination, when you went to a trainer in 30 days, throughout that whole time, hopefully we bled, ate, slept, drank, having fun, making money, being real, and helping out, right? Oh my gosh, yeah. And you said that you were all about that, and that's why you want to be a part of this community, right? Absolutely. So first I get him to recommit. He's still part of the core values. And if he goes, no, I'm really not. The more I'm here, the more I think they're stupid. That's a great opportunity for me to go, Doug, we got to find you a better fit. You're not going to like it here. We ain't going to like having you. Let's work on a transition plan. But 9 times out of 8, they're going to go, no, I'm about that. So if I'm trying to get Doug to work harder because I want to make my boat payment, Doug's not interested in my boat payment. He's interested in his boat and his boat payment, or the fact that he doesn't have a boat, right?
Right.
But if he's all about having fun and I'm trying to help him have fun, he's very coachable about that.
I'm good. Yeah, absolutely.
Once we say, well, let's talk about that, Doug. If you're still we still share the same core values. You're supposed to be here in 41 minutes. Is this a fun call for you to make to me? No. I tell you from my side, I'm not having fun. This sucks. I'd rather be out. I'd rather be hugging you or making fun of you being bald, not having this conversation. But here we are. I'm going to have to go have a conversation with the other 2 people or one person that depends on you to be there. That's not fun for any of us. So I think we can agree we violated that. How about making money? Are you going to make the company money? No. Are you going to make you any money? No. Are you going to make the people that we're trying to serve money? Not really. How about being real? When you got here, you told me you'd be here on time every time. Was that not real? Was that not the case? Like, me, if you need time off, we're real. You just tell us ahead of time.
Yeah.
But you're not being real. And then are you helping out? Good Lord, no. I got to go hustle to keep our word, because we are going to be. And once you start doing that, Doug's going to either go, these core values are full of crap, I don't want this, or he's going to go, you're right. And I'm not trying to beat him into my submission. This is who he is. I'm just encouraging him to be the Doug that he really is. And he starts seeing, you're right. And once you start running the company like that, you can just fade off. You can just back away, and the core values will continue to run the company. And then when you're not physically there, and when the employees start having inter-employee conversations, done deal. Now you can literally back off.
Awesome. That's fantastic. And I've looked at the outline of your what do you call your package the cleaning that you sell? What's that called again, Mike?
The clean profit method.
Yeah, the cleaning profit method, and that's why you've got it in the first section.
1 is core values.
Yeah. Yep. So that definitely makes sense.
Doug is so charming. I could talk to him all the live long day, but I feel like we are 25 minutes in. We've only taken 1 question. And I'm guessing a lot of people out there are like, hey, Mike, shut up. Doug, I want to hear from Doug. So Toby, tell us what the world out there is saying and let us see if we can help them directly.
Yeah, we've got a bunch in here. So we've got one from, I'm just going to make a mention of a couple of people, but two of them tie into the one. So we've got questions from Everett, Lee, Donnie, Jacob, Sam's asked a question here as well. Jacob and Sam both kind of touched on the same thing. They're talking about pain. They want to understand a little bit more about the pain when you're interviewing a prospect. So Mike's component to this was, what's the quickest way to identify their pain in an initial meeting, and how can you tie your solution back into that? And then Sam kind of picked up on that and said, I understand what you're saying about pain, but office managers have a different pain than other jobs. And he's not sure how you try and identify who I should be speaking with those pains. Is it AdWords, LinkedIn, direct mail? How do you kind of solicit based on maybe job type? So a couple of different pieces there regarding pain.
Gosh, this is a bright group, or whoever's at least engaging and asking questions. These are as a coach, I get frustrated when I get asked stupid questions. I'm like, I can answer that question, but I can't bring a ton of value to you. When I get in-depth questions like that, I'm like, man, I know I'm talking to people that are getting and are actually going to engage. So I love those questions. So Toby asked, there's a lot packed in there. So Toby, I'm going to answer what I thought I heard you say. And if I miss anything, just yell at me and tell me what I missed, and we'll circle back. The big thing I heard was A, how do I get pain? And B, I've got different people that have different pain. So that goes, and it ties in nicely what we're talking about with niches, right? If I'm like, I help owners of car dealerships, and I help, veterinarians and dentists and property managers, and we do this, and we do government buildings, and we do, you're right. Each niche is generally going to have 2 or 3 buyers, right? Let's use car dealerships. I used to own a car dealership, so I'm fairly familiar with how they are. If it's a single location, it's either going to be the general manager, which is insane to me, but okay. The general manager in charge of making that decision. It might be a facilities manager or shop manager, but there's like 1 or 2 people there. If it's if there's 20 of them or a dozen of them in a city, it's going to probably be decentralized, and someone at corporate will be making that decision. So first of all, you're like, oh my gosh, that's really detailed. You're dang right it is. And if I had 32 niches, I wouldn't even know that. I wouldn't even know that some are centralized and some are decentralized. So when Doug comes in trying to compete with me, and all I do is car dealerships, I'm the freaking expert with car dealerships, I'm going to crush him because he doesn't even know what he's talking. Obviously not Doug, but the fake Doug here has no clue when he doesn't even know who he's supposed to ask for. And I know that, right? I'm a big Anthony Robbins fan. If he came in to help you guys, he's going to crush me in personal development. But when you go, what's this swept about? And how's it a tool? And why should I use it? How can I, what's my hiring process look like? He's going to go, huh? That's how I can compete with someone that's far better than I am at what I do. That's how you guys can compete with someone. And this is a key for new people. If you're a newer company and you've got larger companies that are like, you feel like they're crushing, you just got all this kind of internal knowledge over the last 2-3 decades. It's a bear to compete. Niche down. I promise you can be better at restaurants than they are at everybody. So first and foremost, to answer your question, yes, there are typically 2 to 3 decision-making titles within any niche. And yes, each of them have very different pain. So all of my marketing and sales material is going to be segmented, which again, you're going to go, this is a wall of work. Absolutely. But if you just have one niche, trust me, the way I talk to you guys as commercial owners is very different than the way I talk to residential owners, right? The way I talk to people that are $1 million and up in sales is very different than the people I talk to that are just starting, which is different than people that got those 20 or 30 person teams. And the only way I know those gradients is because I've talked to hundreds of you, right? But if I say, I'll coach owners of cleaning company, I'll coach your kid at baseball, I'll sweep up while I'm, I don't have that authority. So first and foremost, the answer is you've got a niche, so you understand exactly who those decision makers are and what their pain is. And you are going to speak to them differently. If I talk to the office manager of the dentist office or the dentist who owns the practice, completely different messaging. Whether it's on, and again, one of the things you guys threw in there was, how should I talk to them? Well, I don't know. The office manager might be on Instagram, and her message is going to be about, is your boss driving you crazy? Are you sick of getting yelled at? What's it going to look like if you lose your job? How bad do you feel when you let the people that you work with down? The dentist owner is going to be totally different. It might be on LinkedIn, and it might be saying, did you get into dentistry to help people or to sweep up and babysit your cleaner? You see how they're totally different, right? And if you don't have that niche, you're going to go, you have money, I have a mop, can we please trade? And I'm going to crush you every time. Or anybody that's niched down and really knows the pain is going to destroy you. They have no chance. So You're absolutely right. You must know who you're talking to, because where you're going to speak to them is totally different. The office manager might be on Facebook. The dentist might be on LinkedIn. They're probably not going to be the same place. Even if you know exactly where they are and you can hold a sign up in front of them, but to the dentist you go, hey, are you afraid of losing your job? You're going to get zero response, right? I might have the best yoga pants in the world, but if I try to sell them to Doug, I'm guessing, no judgment, I don't do yoga either. Probably no dice, right? I got Doug has no pain about looking good in yoga pants. I'm hoping. Maybe he looks great already. I don't know. So I guess the short answer to that is you've got to pick a niche, or it's impossible. And you have to understand what that person wants. And I promise you, it's not clean, right? People say they want green cleaning, they want a better clean, they want lower price. That's because no one's trained them how to buy. They don't really know what they want, so they just go into this like response that they've been taught over. I want less money and more cleaning. That's not what they want. They want you to understand them better than anybody else. They want you to solve their real problem, which is usually security. Again, it depends on who it is. So yes, the short answer is you've got to know your niche. You have to have specific marketing to the different people in your niche, and it has to be different, and it has to speak to their pain. And generally, it has very little to do with cleaning. Toby,
so I've got no, that was pretty good, Mike. I've got a really good question here from Everett that I'm going to get to. But before we do, what I thought I'd do is, the session we're kind of started on here is about customer retention. I'd be keen maybe to probe both you and Doug, just to kind of say, what are some strategies? Doug, maybe this is a question you can offer some insight to some of the people on the session here. And maybe that'll be a good segue for Mike to kind of pick up where you leave off and add some value as well. But, what's something that you're doing, Doug, as you're taking that leap from, being the guy who sold the contract and kind of executing, now going into that next kind of stage of your business, kind of what are the things you're mindful of as you take that next step in making sure that what you work so hard to sell, you're now actually able to keep? So why don't you give us some thoughts there, and then Mike certainly pick up right after that.
I definitely have a thought there, Toby. One of the things that has impressed me about you guys with Swept, obviously I'm concerned about maintaining my customers, and it's the feature when you go into the software that you guys use. You can go in and talk to either your current customers or prospects, and through Swept, if there's a problem area, just like Mike was just talking about, people are concerned. They are concerned about the cleanliness of their building, obviously. But if there's a problem area, let's say you're doing an estimate, you're doing a walkthrough, and the office manager, let's say you're with the office manager, she says, look, these guys that we've had, they just will not keep this area clean. The break room, let's say it's the break room. And one of the great features about Swept is you can, right there with the customer or the prospect, take a picture of that area. This is it, right? Yes, she says. And then once your cleaners are on board with Swept, your customers can be on board with the software. There's that communication piece that if there's ongoing problems that aren't being solved, the pictures can be taken. They can be sent to the office manager. Hey, we're on top of it, or vice versa. If the office manager is seeing where things aren't being handled properly, they can be sent on to either myself and then I can send them on to the cleaner. So it's that communication piece to be able to maintain your level of service, which is going to obviously help with your maintaining your customers.
Well, since Doug took all the good answers, I guess I'll just make some crap up. But I can't agree more. The first thing I had, I'm kind of making some notes here so I can keep my thoughts organized. First thing I had was system and tools, and Swept is just amazing for that. So obviously, if you're on this webinar, you probably have a good idea of A, I got to have a system, and B, if I can have a tool to automate that system, come on, right? That's automating 101 is having a system. So agree with 1,000% of what Doug said. I'm just going to give you 2 or 3 quick little ideas instead of diving deep into one. I'm just going to hit you with a bunch of stuff. First and foremost, oddly enough, most people wouldn't guess this, margin. After you've got your systems in place, like Doug talked about, margin is your best customer retention thing, which is crazy because people think the less I charge them. Nope, it's the exact opposite. If you have margin, everything good comes from margin. One of the other things, the next is surprise and delight. Well, guess what? Surprise and delight costs money. Charge your people enough, you can blow their doors off by solving their pain and not nickel and dime them. Make sure you have margin. Two things are going to happen. You don't charge enough. Not only do you get the wrong customer, but you're constantly fighting because he or she wants more, and you don't have the money to do it. Never mind, keep them going forward. You don't have the money to do the job that you said you're going to do. Yeah. So that's going to work in reverse. Not only are they going to quit, they're going to tell everybody else how bad you suck. Their fault.
Make your life miserable in the meantime.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's not like it's, butterflies and daisies in that interim. Exactly. You're making no money. They hate you. You hate that. It's ridiculous. So no margin. You're never going to keep that customer. You want to keep customers longer, charge them enough. Also, they're committed. It's funny. The people that pay full price tend to appreciate you want to work through and understand the value that you bring. The people that want to grind you down think that you just are a jerk with a mop and they don't understand what you're doing anyway. So margin, surprise and delight. Core values, huge. When I have a customer that shares my core values, and I'm guessing of the hundreds of people on this webinar, some are going, this guy's an idiot. I don't like him at all. He's not professional. He wouldn't get it, blah, blah, blah. Fine. Heck with all you. Just kidding. And that's fine. We're probably not going to be a good fit, right? I'm not going to try and keep them as a customer. I'm not their bag, right? There's probably someone out there that's a way better fit. I'm going to tell them, go make him happy and you let him help you. There's other people that are going, I don't even know if this guy's any good, but I'm digging what he's saying. I feel that, have fun, make money. I'm about that. Well, guess what? If I connect with that customer, if I forget something or something goes wrong, he's going to call me like, Doug, dude, you said you're being real and having fun. This is not fun. Help a brother out. And we're going to talk through that because we have those core values. Everyone's a trainer. Everyone's responsible. That culture of accountability, huge. It's not someone else's job to check. It's my job because I'm a decent human being. And that goes into lying, cheating, and stealing, right? If I said I did this job and I did it the way you told me, now give me my money, and I take that money and I didn't do the job the way I said, I've lied. Tie pay to results. That's always the easy one, right? And again, all this foundational stuff's going to make that work better, but you tie pay to results. When I do my quarterly, and we talk about all this in the Clean Profit Method, but when I do my quarterly reviews, it is first and foremost core values, which is the only subjective one. Then we talk about, first is core values. Second is time and attendance, right? How often were you on time, show up? How often did you cover for someone else? Third is feedback. How many good reviews did you get? How many bad reviews did you get? And then fourth, and these are in order of importance, by the way. Core values is like half. Time and attendance is like a quarter. Quality of work is like 15%. And then the last one is time. Are you doing it in the amount of time that is allotted? That's like 10%. And then again, to tie back with what Doug said, have a system, right? Last thing. And that system should be to understand who your best customers are. And this is a huge one. If you're going to write something down, here's your chance. This is a big one. This is a huge nugget. I usually charge lots of money. It's all for free. Write it down. Your absolute best customers are your current customers. Nobody gets that. It's fun. It's exciting. It's sexy to go get a guy off of Facebook who calls you, do a bid, and there's 12 other bidders, and you win the bid, and you get a new check, and it's all very exciting. It's not exciting for poor Doug, who's been paying me $1,800 a month to do a great job for 3 years, to just, so Doug, shut up and sit down, Doug. Where's my check, right? And we don't say that, but oftentimes we act like that. If you look at the amount of time we spend with Doug and the amount of time we spend with this new sexy suitor who we don't even have, who we don't even know, who doesn't be a good customer, it's like 99.99.01. So have a system, and again, sweat should be a big part of that system, to have that dialogue with Doug, so he never feels like, the stilted lover who's like, yeah, back when you were new and we were signing contract, I loved you and I was all about you and I was wooing you, but now shut up, sit down, I don't care. So first and foremost, you got to understand, we talk probably 90% of our time about how to get new customers. 90% of your time should be spent keeping your old customers. Hint, if you wanted to say, okay, all my customers are happy, which they're not, I promise you spend more time on that. But once you've done that, you go, fine, now can I get new customers? Sure, if you want to waste a bunch of time and money, the best place are your former customers. Everything you have to overcome with a new guy, I don't know you, I don't trust you, what's it going to be like? I'm fear of the unknown. It's all covered. They know exactly what it's going to get. We get this weird head trash of they're going to be pissed off. They hate my guts. If I saw them in a grocery store, there would be a fist fight immediately. It's not that. Something weird happened. One of your employees said something. He's quit. Everything's forgotten. They hired someone else that's also terrible, blah, 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 blah. So A, have a system. B, realize the absolute most valuable thing you have is your customer list. And the second most valuable thing you have is not the gaggle of strangers out there. It's your previous customers that already have some level of knowing, liking, and trusting you.
Awesome, guys. That's wonderful. So there's a question here that I really want to open to you, Mike, and it's from Everett, who's got a twofold question for you. I speculate, Doug, you might be able to chime in here as well. It sounds like your story might be just a little further advanced from Everett's here, but I'm in cleaning, and at this point, I can't do my day job and clean at night any longer. I'm making more cleaning than my job. Is it time to leave my job? And how can I go to the next level and get to the point where I'm hiring employees and not working so much? Everett, sounds like there's a lot of challenges there. Doug, why don't we start with you?
Yep.
Sounds like you've just kind of come out of this phase. Why don't you take a first crack
Sure.
at it?
Well, the first thing I'd say to Everett is, do you want to work for yourself or do you want to work for somebody else? And hands down, I mean, working for myself has been the best thing I've ever decided to do in my life. One of the best things. And the other is just a quick story. You know, when I was out there working another job and cleaning in the mornings, because I had like a second shift thing at work, I went into my boss and I said, look, I got to give you my 2 weeks. And I appreciate everything. And the guy said, Doug, how would you like to clean our office? He said, we'd rather have somebody that we know and that we can trust. That was 14 years ago. I still clean the office. It's a great story. And it's a Service Master company, Mike. It's a True Green office here in Greensboro. And they've been one of my best customers, you know, so.
I love that you're cleaning a Service Master company's office. That's I would have that in my marketing somewhere because I'm a terrible human being. But well, hopefully after this call, you'll be like, oh, I got to call that guy and take him out to lunch. He's been my jilted lover. I got to go give him a hug. Great feedback. And let me give you two answers, Everett. First, honestly, to be able to do this, you know, right, I need to talk to you offline. I don't want to just. There's no way blanket wise I could say, yep, absolutely, it's time. Go get him. I'd have some more questions. We'd have to just kind of talk about your situation. So that's my answer to you specifically. Let me give a little more generic answer to the group because I'm guessing Everett's not the only person in that very similar situation. Anecdotally, I have probably walked dozens of people through this process of going from, and I've got 2 or 3 I'm working with now, going from some, and it's so funny because some of these guys, gals are, you know, just regular working stiffs, and I've got 2 doctors I'm working with right now, different practices, but you know, guys, gals making hundreds of thousands of dollars. The encouragement I would give to you guys is go, well, crap, if I've got guys that spent $250,000 in a decade or more in medical school to make a couple $100,000 a year, and they're wanting to leave that to do the business that I walked into for free, that's good news. That said, having done that, I have had 0 people that didn't double, triple, I mean, it really depends on where they started, but have massive results. And I've not had one that came back and said, shit, pardon my language, but that was a mistake. What have I done? Right. And I'm not saying you couldn't be the first, Everett. I'm just saying, having done this a bunch with other people, because I haven't had a job since I was 20. So I'm not a good example of my own. This is one of the few things I can't say, oh, I've done this and here's how I did it wrong, do it different. But I've walked enough people through this, and again, usually I'd say, hey, I've done this a bunch of times and some fail and some succeed. And here's the traits of the people that succeed. And here's the traits of the people that fail, you know, do the successful traits. This is one of the few things, the record's 100%. I promise you it's not because I'm a genius or because they're working with me. I think just that magic of, just like we're talking about niches, right? If my whole world is car dealerships and I just love those, and for me, it's weird niche. Owners of cleaning companies. I just, dang it, I love you people. And hopefully it shows. Same thing when you're able to kind of have your true love and just say, this is what I'm going to focus on. My passions aren't divided. That's why, in my humble opinion, non-monogamous relationships don't super work, right? Because you got to put all your eggs in that basket and really care, as opposed to, well, if this doesn't work, I've always got a ripcord I can pull. So historically, Everett, I've never found anyone, and I'm sure it's happened, but I've just never seen it where they took the leap and it was too soon and they regretted it. So I would encourage you. I want to talk to you, so I can't give you the specific advice to you personally, but I would encourage you, if you feel you're ready, you probably are.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. So we're going to close up here in another few minutes. So before we do, I've got 2 comments that have come in, as well as 2 other questions. So for those,
Toby, I don't want to hear any keep my wife and family out of it. Those are the comments. Only nice things, please.
Okay. Well, they're both nice, Mike. So I won't read them to you then, since you don't like them. So just a quick reminder: stay until the end of the session. We do have a special offer here that can get you some one-on-one FaceTime with the guy with the green screen with all the hair that I'm very jealous of. But we'll leave it at that. Before we do, we've got 2 comments from Donnie and Kelly. Donnie suggested that he's been in the industry for over 20 years. Started 2 years ago on his own organization, started growing, and now he's growing at a pretty positive, consistent rate. Listens to all your podcasts and has led him to SWEP. So he's offered a thanks, and I would thank you as well if he came to us through you as well. And Kelly left law enforcement about a year ago to help her husband grow the cleaning business that they've run. He's done an awesome job in the building, in growing the building services company they have over the last 5 years. Expected her to kind of know where to just kind of fit in and find these customers, and that the information you've been providing today and in the past has been a huge, huge help. So thanks a lot. So Kelly, Donnie, thanks for sharing that feedback with us. Now I've got 2 really short questions here, and Mike, they might be a little bit more in your wheelhouse, so I'll ask them together and certainly take a shot at both of them. So I believe it's Lee. I may have mispronounced the name Lee. Asked, are there any tips for interviewing? And before I let you dive into that one, I'm going to give a plug for a free tool that we have. And Stella also mentioned, how do you have fun when you have mostly one person doing the cleaning? So, so Lee, just a tip for you. We'll send this out, but write it down. It's called cleaningjobs.co. So we used to be a cleaning company. We built this tool because we found that interviewing was a giant pain in the rear end and people not showing up. So we built this system because Mike likes to talk about systems. So cleaningjobs.co. It's a free utility. You're not going to get ads. You're not going to get spam. What it does is a little video on the page there. It basically becomes an applicant tracking system that scores the cleaner against some of the profile or the answers that you have related to this particular job post. So by all means, feel free to create a free account for you. Mike will take that one. So again, Mike, it's any tips on interviewing, and also how do you have fun when you might just have a really, really small crew, even just one other cleaner. So fire away.
The second question is my favorite. I'll save it for the end. I love that. And I tell you, Matt told me about that tool like a year ago. I still am pissed at them because I'm a greedy bastard that they're not charging for it. I'm like, dude, you've got to make that another like add-on or tool. You should absolutely be charging for that. But they're too stubborn, too kind, too whatever, not doing it. So I would absolutely sign up for that for the low, low price of nothing. How do you miss? And Matt, if you're still listening to this, knucklehead, charge for that thing. All right, that said, so I can go get it before Matt hears and changes it. All right, that said, love the interview process. A couple things on that. First and foremost, and I'm so glad that we talked about core values first because everything's going to come back to that. If you do not, my whole interview process is all to find out who shares my core values and stoke that in them, and find out who does not have my core values and push them away, right? I don't want them trying to sneak their way into my company. I want them to go, this guy's an idiot. Have fun at work and be real. Screw all that. I just want to show up and get a paycheck and get the hell out of there. I don't want to help anyone out. Not for me, right? So the whole process is to eliminate them. That said, I do group interviews always, and again, this is all in the Clean Profit Method, but I'm going to give you as much as I can in the time that we've got. Always do a group interview first. There's nothing worse than you schedule 5 interviews. First guy doesn't show up. Second guy shows up, and within 9 seconds of his wife beater T-shirt and 47 tattoos and 17 pieces of metal in his head, you're like, well, that's an hour wasted. And then in 5 hours, you might get 1 or 2 decent interviews, and you're whipped, and your whole day is shot. Always start with a group interview. Make it consistent. Sounds an awful like a system to me, right, folks? I have a system around the hiring, and that hiring should all be core values based. All of the questions, that's not true. 90% of the questions I ask are about core values. So you've got to get your basic stuff, which is transportation, drug test, background check, hours available to work, legal to work in the city or country that you're in. Whatever that looks like for you, right? And those are going to be a little different, but you have to get those nailed, and those are just pass fail, right? If I require, and again, don't say I require reliable transportation. I require, and again, make sure you check this with the laws of your city, state, and country. But instead, if it's legal, instead of saying I require valid transportation, because I take the bus, that's valid. You might say I require a car that is no older than 10 years old, has less than 80,000 miles, and has no body damage. Or again, make up your own thing, but be specific in those questions. So 10% of the questions: schedule, logistics, when can you work, how much are we going to pay, are you legal, do you have a car, can you pass around your background check, blah, 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 blah. And I try and get those all automated, right? I don't need to look at Doug face to face for him to tell me, yes, I have a car that meets that criteria. No, I don't. So that said, I spend 90% of my focus on core values. And I try to ask them questions that don't give away the answer. So bad question. Hey, Doug, we're all about having fun. You're about having fun, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to say, no, screw you, old man. I'm out of here. Yeah, I love fun, right? What we're going to say is, hey, tell me last time you had fun at work. How did it work out? Right? And there's not even a right or wrong answer. You're just looking for his attitude towards it, right? Or be real, right? I don't want people to be with me and have kind of this personality and then at home have this different personality. I want them to just be who they are in front of me, in front of the customer, all that good stuff. So I might say to him, how do you feel? How close is too close of a work relationship? And again, I'm not trying to trap them, but there's not really an obvious answer where they're going to go, I know this one. Like, should you do drugs at work? Like, I think I know what you're going for here, Doug. But if it's like, how close is too close of a work relationship? What's appropriate? What's inappropriate, right? Like open-ended questions, but every single question is tied to a core value. I do not care about cleaning. Again, if I'm hiring the best brain surgeon in the world, I don't care if I have a core values match. I just want to know he's the best guy to put a scalpel in my skull, right? If I'm hiring someone that's going to be on my team and part of my community, that's what I want. And I'll tell you, again, we're getting off a little, but this is so important. You are not selling, just like with cleaning, you're not selling mop and water. That's so low value. You're selling the ability to solve their problem. You are not selling a crappy $10 an hour paycheck. Maybe you pay 12. Maybe you're in San Francisco, pay $14.50. I don't care. A near minimum wage or minimum wage paycheck. They can get that terrible paycheck anywhere. You are offering access to a community that believes the same things they believe, right? I go to church every week, believe it or not. Don't tell everyone I curse so bad. I'm trying to get better. And I give them money to go, not in exchange for a service. We have shared core values. The things that are really important to me are really important to them. And when they say, hey, Mike, I know you get paid pretty well in your real life. Why don't you sweep up for free or change this kid's diaper for free or do whatever for free? I'm first in line because it's core values. So the answer to the interview questions is core values, core values, core values. We are not looking for skill. We can train anyone to clean. I cannot train anyone to be about having fun, making money, being real, helping out. That's why I love sweat guys. Like the first time I met them face to face, and Toby and I got to hang out for like 3 days, I think, in Texas. We hang out all day working, talking to people and serving the sweat community. And then afterwards we'd have dinner and talk more because we were such nerds about this core value match, right? So if I was going to work for a company, swept would be it. If I was going to hire someone, it'd be someone like Toby because we match. So that's the answer to that. Do we have time for me to hit the other one, Toby, or did I go too long?
Go ahead. You go ahead.
What was the name of the gal that asked the question about it's just me. How do I have fun?
It was Stella.
Stella. First of all, I love your question. And so many people go, won't work for me. I can't do it. It's just me. I love that you're like, it will work for me. Help me. How do I do it? That's fantastic. So first and foremost, it's all about you. So there is no company of one, or you would have a company. You have customers, you have vendors, you have community people, you have people that you interview. Like you guys technically aren't really my community. I don't give you any money. You don't give me any money, right? But the first thing I do when I come in is I make fun of, and again, Toby knows me. Hopefully Doug took it to spirit. The first thing I do is start making fun of their bald head. And trust me, if I was bald, they had hair, I'd have made fun of it the other way. So and that ties in with the being real, right? That's a beautiful thing about core values. If I worked for Swept and one of their core values was having fun and I wasn't, I'd be like, crap, I better make a joke or they're going to kick me. It'd just be weird, right? Like that's just who I am. I wasn't like, I've got to be fun because that's a core value. I'm going to make fun of Toby's baldness. Like it just came up because that's who I am. And the be real allows me to go, that's who I am. And they know what a knucklehead I am and they still have me on their platform. I don't know what they're thinking, but the trick is just be you. So the be real for me goes right hand in hand with the have fun. And my fun might look different than you, right? You might go, oh, I couldn't work with Mike. He's ridiculous fun. I'm more this kind of fun. We could still work together because we still believe the same thing. So the key is, and the cool thing is once you start being this really out loud, you'll be shocked at how many people come around. We literally, after, I'll see if I can get it to you guys if you want the link. We literally did one hiring ad. It was just ridiculous. It was one of our employees talking about what it's like to work with us. They never mentioned it. He's making a rum and Coke as he's doing the interview. Never refers to it, never looks at it, just drinks it, making the rum and Coke. People loved it because that was our vibe. I don't even drink, but that was who he was. And we put that out there. So all that to say, if you are just really you out loud, and people are desperate for reality. Everything's so fake and corporate, and we endeavor as a company to bring profit to the shareholders and bring value to the, whoa, it's disgusting. If you go, I want to be badass, kick ass, take names, and be rock stars. People go, oh, I want that. So all that to say, be you in whatever community you're in, and you'll be shocked at how quickly people are attracted to that realness, and you won't, and the team will come. I promise you, if you're just you, all these weird people that are just like you will just out of the ether start showing up, right? Like, I'm sure there's a bunch of technology people like Swept, and of course I like their technology and the software is great, but the people behind it is why I picked them, and we connect because we share the core values. So I promise you, Stella, just be you in every circumstance, and the team will come.
Okay, so that's great. What I'm going to do, I'm going to tie this back, and it's going to be a real short challenge for both Doug and Mike here. So we didn't tee this up, but that's part of the surprise element of this. This is going to be fun. So it's going to be a challenge for both of you guys as we're talking about customer retention. Obviously, retaining a customer involves setting the proper expectations up front with them, by which everyone knows where the lines in the field are, and that's the relationship that you kind of set to execute against. And then secondly is, managing that relationship ongoing to make sure that you're doing a good job, that you're responding to issues as they arise. So knowing that there's those two pieces on, setting right expectations and maybe dealing with conflict with a customer, maybe it's 6 months, a year down the road, whatever it might be, I'd like both of you to take 30 seconds to kind of speak about one of those items. Now I'm going to open it to Doug first. Doug, you can pick which one you want to talk about. Is it kind of the setting expectations, or is it dealing with a challenge with the customer? So that's going to be the challenge for you to speak about for 30 seconds. Mike, the two challenges for you is to take the one that Doug doesn't speak about, and then secondly, to keep it to 30 seconds.
Well,
that's going to be the bigger challenge for you. So guys, what would you suggest? Doug, take it away. Anything you would do on the customer setting expectations or dealing with conflict?
Well, I mean, setting expectations, really the bigger part of it is communication. You've got to communicate with your customers. You've got to, and if Swept helps you to do that, let's say Swept, I think it's great. But whether it's Swept or face-to-face, kneecap to kneecap, eyeball to eyeball, you have to communicate with your customers. You can't just assume everything is good, because when you assume that everything is good, you're going to end up with conflict at some point. So it's very important to. I communicate with all my customers. Hey, I'm small. I can do that, but it's the same. If you're going to scale your business, you still have to communicate with your customers. That's crucial.
Okay, perfect. All right, Doug. So he's picked Mike. He's picked the communicate kind of at the front end. Mr. Campion, why don't you take a shot at the other one here and see what your 30-second blitz is going to include here.
First of all, I can't sneeze in 30 seconds, so we'll see how that takes out. 41 minutes later, like, okay, I'm done. So conflict resolution, and you guys are going to hate it because it sounds like I'm trying to push an agenda. I'm not. This is just, I can only coach on what I know. It's core values. So first of all, we have to share those. If we don't share core values, I don't know how to resolve conflict with you, because if I believe this, you believe that, we have no common ground. Because one of my core values is be real, I'm going to just always do that, right? So I'm never going to try and spin or twist, right? Either I agree, hey, we've done a bad job. I am sorry. I need to fix it. Let's make a plan. I'm going to look them eyeball to eyeball and just shoot straight. Go, I am sorry. I have done a bad job. I'm going to fix it. I might even ask for more money if I need it, right? Because I don't want to lie to this guy and say I'm going to fix it if I can't. Or if I think his expectations are wrong, or I've screwed up, I'm going to be real in that. And I'm probably still going to take the responsibility myself, but I'm still going to tell him, hey, Toby, I did a bad job. When we bid this, I understood that you wanted this, and we are now doing that, and let's clear this up. So I guess the short version is core values and transparency. Say what you mean what you say, and just be real.